Well, just when you think it can't get any worse for Prince Andrew, it seemingly does. He's had his title stripped away from him by the King, and now he's got this summons from a Congress committee in the States. I don't think he's actually been ordered or can be compelled to go to this committee. I certainly don't think it's likely that he's going to go travel to the United States. I think that's about as likely as me flying to the moon, to be honest. I know that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he now is terrified that if he goes abroad, he might be arrested and extradited to the States. So I don't think that's going to happen. Whether his lawyers might say to him it would be a good idea for him to testify by Zoom or some other method to the committee, whether that would be acceptable to them, they might think that's a good idea. He's lost the PR war since he made that dreadful interview 6 years ago with Emily Maitlis and promised to get involved with some charities involving anti-slavery charities like his daughter Eugenie. But he's not really done that, and he hasn't really shown a great deal of empathy for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. So he could try and redress the balance by telling what he knows, but to be honest, at the moment, I don't think it's likely. I think this is being led by a few Democrats on this particular committee. I think it's called got a bit of a complicated name. It's the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, whatever that is. But they're the congressmen who are asking him to appear, and they say that there are well documented allegations against you, along with your long standing friend, Mr. Epstein, indicate that you may possess knowledge of his activities relevant to our inquiries. So they're kind of presenting him as a witness rather than somebody who's actually done something wrong. But I'm sure if he actually turned up and appeared before this committee, it wouldn't be long before certain members of the committee were turning on him and accusing him of all sorts of things. So I just can't see him, to be honest, I can't see him playing ball with this. Yeah, it's very embarrassing for the royal family. I'm sure that obviously the King and Prince William, Prince of Wales, would obviously love to see the back of this whole issue, and that's why they've done what they've done, because they're hoping that they can draw some sort of line in the sand, and so they can move on. Particularly before Prince William becomes king, they'd like to sort of get this completely done and dusted. At the moment, we understand that Andrew is going to go and live up at Sandringham on the estate there, and probably in a small cottage. Our suggestions, he's got access to a place in Abu Dhabi, which is laid on by the rulers of Abu Dhabi. Hasn't shown any signs that he's going to go there again. I don't think he wants to go abroad because he is worried that something might happen to him. A subpoena might be slapped on him by someone. It might be another girl who suddenly emerges who's got some allegations. So it's very, very difficult for him. Not that he's got a great deal of sympathy from the public, but I'm getting the sense now that people that I talk to, that the public feel that it's probably reached the stage now where they feel that Andrew has been punished enough. After all, at the end of the day, he's never been proved guilty of anything in a court of law. And I think people think that he's virtually lost everything. He's lost his house, he's lost his status, he's lost his patronages, now he's lost his titles. And I think they probably feel that it's gone about as far as it can go. And in terms of any redress over Virginia Giuffre, sadly, she's now dead. So she couldn't appear in any kind of court case against him. So I think really we've got to the point where it's most people think that it's probably gone far enough. And these congressmen are trying to take it a stage further, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the royal family will be happy for him to stay at Sandringham as long as he keeps out of sight. He's not going to be so easy to be photographed there. I'm sure some paparazzi will be lurking about trying to get a picture of him driving or out shooting or out riding or whatever. But obviously he'd be more out of sight in Abu Dhabi. King Juan Carlos, of course, recently has been living in Abu Dhabi after he went into exile from Spain. So there are precedents for this, and he would have, he would have friends there, or people who would look after him, and he could probably maintain some sort of semi-royal lifestyle out there. But whether he wants to do that, whether he wants to be away from his grandchildren and his daughters, I doubt it. Probably wants to, remain in this country if he can. Whether he might start to go out there on a sort of, for a few months here and there is a different matter. But I think the King and the Prince of Wales would just be happy if this dies down and we don't read much more about it. That's their main aim, to try and draw a line under it. And where he's kind of living is fairly irrelevant as long as he keeps a low profile. Well, I think it will haunt Andrew, but I do think that some people are now asking questions and saying that Andrew seems to be the fall guy for this at the moment. He's the one who's had his life completely turned upside down by this. And there are a lot of very rich and powerful men in America who are also involved with Epstein. I'm not going to start listing them. I think the names are fairly well known. And I think a lot of people feel that so far they seem to have been given a bit of a free ride, and all the emphasis has been on Andrew. and meanwhile, some of these people have been getting away with it. So it'd be interesting to see if this committee, when it starts to delve into this further, and if we get more emails released from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, whether some of the other rich and powerful American people who undoubtedly knew Epstein, and as I say, it's been well documented who they are. Be interesting to see if they get dragged into this a lot more, and Andrew's not the only one to suffer. Well, I think the main reason is that obviously, if he was in front of a committee, there's bound to be some people who would probably be hostile to him, and they'd start asking awkward questions. And he's denied, as we know, that he ever met Virginia Giuffre. So if somebody started, really trying to put him on the spot and said that the photograph of him with her was definitely not a fake, and the FBI had authenticated it, they could really put some pressure on him. But it's not just the committee. I think he fears going to the States because he thinks that there might be another, somebody else might emerge who makes some allegations. There might be some sort of subpoena from somebody, or indeed, there might be some criminal suggestion that he might be arrested by the police or the FBI if they reopen the case. And certainly there are calls for him to be investigated by the police, the Metropolitan Police in this country, over allegations that he wrongly asked his own detective to try and smear Virginia and make inquiries about her. So wherever he goes, I think he's looking over his shoulder all the time, and he's worried. So for that reason, I can't see him voluntarily going to the States. I don't think he has to go to the States. He's not going to be extradited. Whether he would agree to appear on some sort of Zoom call, and whether his lawyers would think that would be a good idea, remains to be seen. But not in a million years is he going to travel to the States. I don't think ever again in his life.